Now then, shouldn't we go looking for Bean? No need. Happy birthday, Blue Hedgehog. I cleaned your yard for you. If you've been following my channel for a while, then you know I adore Kingdom Hearts 2, a game that indulged in its concept of being a Disney and Final Fantasy crossover more than any other entry in the series by allowing these disparate elements to interact with each other so casually. Donald Duck could show concern for Cloud Strife and pick a fight with Sephiroth because somehow, through the strangeness that was Kingdom Hearts, these two characters were friends. This game was also my gateway into the franchise, meaning I was dumped into a world full of connections and characters I knew nothing about. Yet due to the absurdity, over-the-top circumstances, and most of all, sincerity of these interactions, I never felt left out. If anything, it encouraged me to go back and see where these fun interactions began. I say all of this to give a framework for the joy and wide-eyed wonder kid me felt from picking up his first issue of Archie Sonic back in 2009. Inside these pages were a combination of characters that I had always known to be separate. Sally Acorn, Vector the Crocodile, some armadillo guy, I don't know where he's from, and Sonic himself were all sharing the same space and acting like this was normal. Meanwhile, the characters I did have a closer connection to from the games or shows were different. Espio was holding Knuckles at knife point, Antoine the Cowardly Coyote was fighting this monkey guy with these sick powers and saying he had a wife? Snively also has a girlfriend apparently with these magic powers, and is Eggman in a straitjacket? And Sonic, he had this calmness to him that I wasn't used to. What was this? Well, as the issue proudly stated, this was a world unique and beyond what I knew from the Sega games. A world where Sonic and his heroic freedom fighters work to save the world from the forces of evil. Welcome to Planet Mobius, and welcome to a new series where I will do my best to convince you to read Archie Sonic, starting with issues 160 and 161. Now, why here of all places? There's still a lot of comic before this, isn't there? Well, for one, fellow YouTuber Lowart and I over on his channel have already begun covering the earlier eras of Archie Sonic comic, and have already gone over 100 issues with plans to cover the entire comic's run in some capacity. Meaning, you can go there if you want more in-depth thoughts on the material that I will be skipping over. The second reason I wanted to start here is because this is an era where after over a decade of the comic doing pretty much whatever it wanted to, with a never-ending list of loose ends and plot threads lying around, the powers that be decided that it was time to change that, to finally give the comic a new direction, and to pay off every single thing it could in the most bombastic and fun way possible. To do that, they hired Ian Flynn, a mega fan of the comic who, fresh out of college with nothing but a degree in English, decided, hey, why not? And sent Archie Comics a bunch of scripts until he got hired. What this means is that this era has a lot of love for the entirety of the comic's run, constantly building upon previous ideas and characters. And so, I'll get to immediately discuss my favorite era of Archie Sonic, along with the best moments of the previous eras. This leads into my final reason for starting here, and brings us back to what the appeal of Archie Sonic has been for me since I picked up that first issue. The Flynn era embodies this feeling of stepping into a living, breathing world, with multiple storylines going on all at once, while being filled with characters you'd never expect to interact with or behave in the ways they do, yet doing so with full confidence. Like this is how things have always been. And that spectacle is what I hope will make many of you go, I want to know more. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What's the story here? Well, thankfully, it's pretty simple. Today is Sonic's 17th birthday, give or take his 1-year time displacement in space, and everyone imaginable, though mostly Eggman and an evil alternate reality twin, is determined to ruin his good time. Like I said, you'll have so much fun if you just let the insanity wash over you. From page 1, we see just what makes this version of Sonic so likable to me. So you can see why my father approved the Metal Sonic Troopers. Yeah, I'll buy it, but your old man should have known that a little doomsday weapon can't stop me. Duly noted. Can you promise me that's the last brilliant idea you royals come up with? Sally and I have just one more left. Oh yeah? You're not nixing the Great Oak Slide, are you? The exact opposite, Sonic. Without even knowing who this squirrel guy is, you can tell he's pretty important given the way he carries himself, speaks, and dresses. Yet Sonic has just as much of a presence through his confidence and casual banter. Apparently these two, despite their obvious differences, are friends, with the royal in question, King Elias, adorably shushing Tails as we flip the page to find that he was leading Sonic to his surprise party, along with the reveal that the place they're in is a reconstructed version of the clubhouse the Freedom Fighters used to play in as kids, all the way back from issue 1. Right off the bat, Flynn is pulling from past material and giving it a new purpose. As Sally and Elias explain, since Robotnik knows their location, they can use this base as a new focal point for his attacks. That way their friends and families don't get caught up in their never-ending battle. But maybe more importantly, it can serve as a reminder and a hope for our heroes that they may one day be able to return to simpler times. That one day they'll be able to save the day permanently. Sonic's big eyes and smile from seeing the base is immediately infectious to me, and sells that this means something to him. Going forward, I won't beat around the bush as to who all these characters are like I did with Elias. I'll just bring them up and explain who they are when it's relevant to do so, which also means some characters will get put on the back burner until I need them for simplicity's sake. So sorry, Fiona, but I wanted to use this as an example for what I mean when I say you really can just jump right in and get a general feeling for these characters and their place in the world and enjoy it. That apparently this royal guy likes Sonic enough to rebuild their childhood clubhouse. I mean, just look at him, he's so happy. Or that apparently this other Sonic in a leather jacket and Rouge the Bat are uneasy allies because of their fun interactions, and so on and so forth. Now this is more like it. Let the Master Thief steal the gem and leave the decoy duties to Evil Sonic. Snap. Locke didn't catch you? The deal was you distract him this time. I didn't see him, so I figured he'd gotten to you already. For now, though, trouble arrives in the form of Bark and Bean, making their first appearance in the comic from Sonic the Fighters. Here they're presented as bounty hunters for hire and have been sent by Robotnik as Sonic's present, complete with song. Eggman shouldn't have. I love that while Rotor and Fiona are surprised or scared, Sonic looks surprised and a little excited, and this is a trend that continues for the whole two-parter. Sonic is having a ball with whatever is thrown his way, and the way the art by newcomer Tracy Yardley depicts that excitement through these exaggerated poses and expressions just makes him so much fun to follow. It really feels like the comic gets pulled into Sonic's rhythm as he dominates every scene he's in with his upbeat energy and cocky charisma. Today's my birthday. Dr. Robotnik sent a pair of assassins as a present. The guy's all class. Now I'm facing off against some super badnik. Oh, and Shadow's here. However, these issues do a great job at showing that Sonic isn't just some thrill seeker with a sarcastic response for every interaction, allowing him to feel like just a dude whose proactive nature can manifest in different ways, making him engaging on a moment-to-moment level. He gets distracted when he thinks his childhood base is getting too messed up for his liking. He tries to come to a solution when he thinks that maybe Bark and Bean have the wrong guy. He shows actual panic when he thinks Robotnik has launched a missile to his house, annoyance that turns into flexing upon seeing the dork he's about to beat up, and he's even willing to drop his guard when Shadow arrives to thank him, shaking his hand with a genuine grin before some playful rivalry banter. I love it. Speaking of said rival though, Shadow and Archie currently works for Dr. Robotnik, and no amnesia or brain tampering required this time, as the writers interpreted Shadow's trajectory post-SA2 to be one of discovering what he was specifically created for by Gerald, and using that to decide his direction in life, even if it means working for the villains. Flynn, however, clearly wanted to move Shadow back into the direction of being a good guy, and with how disturbingly detailed Archie Eggman's evil deeds can be at times, this could have presented a problem if Shadow were to be complicit in his heinous acts, or directly try to harm our heroes without an actual excuse. In fact, in the very next arc, Shadow is just completely missing, probably to avoid this problem. Guess he got lost, poor baby. But when Flynn isn't just deleting Shadow from existence, we have how he writes him here, and what makes me love how Shadow is treated in these two issues. Hold on, blast it! I still function! You're doing nothing to help Shadow. I shall report you as a traitor to Dr. Robotnik. No, you won't. Quick truce to finish this up? Works for me. No! Record time. Nice work, Faker. At every moment that Shadow could turn on Sonic in these issues to, do his job, he chooses not to because he respects Sonic. Specifically for saving Hope, this little girl that reminds Shadow of Maria. The reason he's here to thank Sonic in the first place is because he feels he wasn't there for Hope when Sonic was. This first of all shows that Shadow can have humility, and immediately lets us know that while Shadow may be lost and confused, that doesn't mean he has no heart. Sonic, despite their differences, is his friend, whether Shadow knows it or not. In fact, despite the issue before this being written by Ken Penders, we know now that the final exchange between Sonic and Shadow, which sets up this friendship, was actually written by Ian Flynn. They're overwhelming Sonic. Though we've had our differences, I cannot allow him to fall this way. Can we turn down the volume? Oh, my head. Finished resting, Blue Hedgehog? Shut up, Faker. Thanks for the save, Shadow. I owe you nothing. Then we're even, Sonic. Hey, Faker. Don't be a stranger. This makes so much sense to me since I was always shocked that Mr. I don't play the games Penders would actually have Sonic refer to Shadow as Faker when he never did so before. Cool stuff. In the end, Shadow can say all he wants that he works for Robotnik and that he and Sonic are enemies, but his smile betrays him, and I love it. But, okay, let's be honest. Who actually cares about these scrubs? Sonic? Shadow? No. The new hotness is a real scourge. Cards on the table. I love this little green guy. And he deserves the love, dang it. After all, it's his birthday too. And all he wanted was to steal the Master Emerald and go beat up Sonic for the afternoon. Is that so wrong? What makes Scourge so fun is that he is the cocky underdog of his own story. While Sonic is this big hero who saved the planet and everyone loves, Scourge has always just been a punk looking for a fight, and when he's really bored, trying to grab some booty. He's literally so weak, he's been one-shot by Antoine, that's how much life hates him. So when his attempt to power up off the Master Emerald leaves him in this in-between super state, his way of embracing this new identity, this new power, is to use it in the most petty ways possible. Record time, nice work, Faker. Now then, the reason we're all here. Cheap shot. Ha! At last, eat turf, Blue! Enough. I have a question. You want a piece of this too, Stripes? Grave mistake. Ha! 2 for 2! The amount of fun he's having just flexing on Sonic and Shadow is hysterical. He is literally just being a bully and loving every second of it. And honestly, I am too. It's the way he talks as well, saying things like babe or wuss and the like with such confidence. If you could boil Scourge down to a sound, it would be Sure, he's stronger now, he's more of a threat technically, but the way he uses that power is still so small scale. Well done, you've asserted your masculinity. Well put, Rouge. Now wait a minute, Ian Waffles, I hear you say. Are you sure you're not giving the comic too much credit here? I think the comic does think Scourge is cool. I think we need to double our odds, Shadow. For the moment. Bring all you can. I'll dish it back double. Bring it. Whoa! Ha! Told ya I'd go down already. Come at me, boys. Fight me. Oh, here they come. Boo. I could do this all day. Oh, well, time to run. Shadow's gonna murder us. But, you know what? Despite how uncool I've been saying Scourge is, counterpoint, holy crap, Scourge is so cool. The edge is real, and it is so sick. The sharp teeth, the red sunglasses that say Sega on them, his rounder shoes that have an arrow pattern on the bottom, and that perfect emerald green fur with the sick twin scars on his chest. Scourge's design is immaculate. He looks as cool as I thought my OCs were that I'd made as a child. Even his backstory for this issue sounds like a fanfic. Having caught the eye of the #1 hottest female Sonic character, Rouge the Bat, evil Sonic powered up off the Master Emerald, giving him sharp teeth for some reason, a cool attitude, and an even cooler name, Scourge the Hedgehog. And I think that's the basic appeal of Scourge this early on in the story. He has all of our childlike passions for our own OCs come to life, strutting around with all the awkward yet sincere confidence that we had in them. The first thing he does, after all, is fight the 2 strongest Sonic characters one-on-one and win because his power level is strong now that he's a pseudo-super form. And yeah, I had these same battle fantasies as a kid with my OCs. Scourge may be kind of cringe, but he's also so freaking awesome. And that balance is a joy to read. We'll dive more into Scourge's character as we read more issues, but for now we have a pretty violent Sonic on the loose ready to cause more mischief, and my smile couldn't be bigger. And by the way, this comic is so funny, man. There's such a snappy pace and manic energy to each scene. Like how mid-conversation everyone just goes, "Where'd Bean go?" Only to find out he somehow made it to their computer room so he could call up Eggman to let them know that he failed his mission. Getting pretty much told to go back to his room as Eggman wishes Sonic a happy birthday with his next gift, Croctobot! Sonic the Hedgehog, your doom comes at the hands and tentacles of Croctobot! No, stop. Time out. Lamest badnik ever. Hey, I'm terrifying. No way. I beat both of you back in the day. You will fear me! Whoa, come on, Sonic, get a grip. Okay, claws and tentacles. So Croctobot is a combination of these two E-list bad guys from all the way back when Archie Sonic was only in the double digits. Both of these two had been unceremoniously forgotten by the comic, with Croctobot's remains specifically being a dropped plot point from the old writers. So it seems that Eggman found them and just decided to slap these two on top of each other and call it a day. But it gets better, because Sonic's only previous encounter with Crocbot wasn't some duel or close call. No, it was Sonic unplugging him from a wall mid-rant. So of course when he sees this guy again trying to act all cool with his newfound power, he can't take him seriously at all. Reminds me of someone else in the issue. So what we have here isn't just some thrown together obscure callback. It's a hilariously memorable send-off to what were some of the most forgettable characters. But even reading this for the first time without that context, I still couldn't help but laugh and smile because of how great Sonic's reaction was. But it's not just the writing that sells this wacky exchange or is multi-layered. For example, back in the gag era days, characters would refer to Sonic by name at the beginning of some issues by using the logo of the comic. And what do you know, so does Croctobot at the beginning of issue 161. Then we have this moment where Sonic and Scourge are about to face off, followed by Croctobot yanking them away to remind them that he's still alive by using the same shot. It's a small thing, but it really punctuates the humor. Really, so much of this two-parter feels like a love letter to the earlier, sillier days of Archie, right down to it taking place back where the series began. This right here is the beating heart of the Flynn era. No matter how silly, melodramatic, or even bad of an idea, this era is going to take all of them and either give it a new direction or a bombastic send-off, and I just can't wait to show you more. At the end of the issue, Sonic's friends feel pretty bad. They feel like Sonic's birthday must have been a failure, but Sonic tells them that that's not true at all. At the end of this crazy day, the base worked like a charm. Their friends and families were safe from multiple attacks, and Sonic got to have a great time kicking all sorts of bad guy butt. Sure, he got roughed up a bit, but like he says, I live for this stuff. We've recovered from worse and we can do it again. We're the freedom fighters. Awesome. Now, hearing that may make some of you think, hey, you guys didn't do squat though. And that is a fair assessment. These issues have some minor problems, like a few panels and poses just looking kinda messy or jank, this B story involving Sonic's first encounter with Blaze the Cat being pretty rough to look at, and of course the freedom fighters not really doing anything, which kinda undermines Sonic's speech here, doesn't it? But these are the moments where I have to look back at the other side of my experience reading my first issue of Archie Sonic. At the end of that story, there's this scene between that monkey guy and these children as they come to an understanding and a desire to protect and encourage one another. Sure, I can get the idea, but I don't feel it, because I hadn't read anything that came before. When I see this moment of Sonic praising his friends, I don't need them to have done anything in the issues themselves, because I've seen more than enough times what they're capable of as a team in previous stories. So, I smile when I hear Sonic say these words, and can only hope that a little of that passes over to you. I know that most of you don't have the time or patience to read all of Archie. There's so much, and even though I love this entire comic, some of the older stuff really is as bad as you've heard. Archie Sonic requires a guide, and that's what I hope to be with these videos. To be able to give you all the context you need, to sum up the decades worth of history that these characters share, and through my own passion for these stories make you go, man, I want to be able to experience that excitement too. If this video has ended up convincing any of you want to read the comic, then my best recommendation if you want more investment in the stuff we'll be covering is to start at issue 130, which takes place after a time skip. This way you kinda get to be more or less on the same page emotionally as Sonic, as he takes in this new world that he was away from while in space. Or, if you're brave enough to start from the beginning, then I have a full reading guide linked in the description. As to how to go about actually reading the comic, well, the series is out of print, and not for sale digitally. But you don't have to look far on the internet to find it, and I trust you'll know where to look. Either way, come back next time as we cover one of my favorite Archie arcs from a purely artistic perspective, The Darkest Storm. It's gonna be awesome, guys. And if you'd like more Sonic Archie content from me, then you can go to Lowart's channel, where he and I have collaborated to make a 3-hour mega video of the first 100 or so issues of Archie Sonic, with more videos coming to cover the rest of the series. And of course, Game Apologist is also working on his Archie Sonic video series, as well over on his channel. Lots of Archie Sonic content to enjoy, so send both him and Lowart some love. I also have a Patreon now. The only tier is $1, which gets you early access to these analyses and your name shouted out at the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.